We are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to Pillar 4 Committee for February 24th. At this time, we are going to do our welcome and introductions of the committee members that are with us today. My name is Hope McGuire. I am Chair and Supervisor of Community Schools in Montgomery County Public Schools. I'll pass it to Mr. Manko.
Hi, everyone. Joseph Manko. I am currently the Education Program Officer at the Able Foundation, and I am a member of the Accountability and Implementation Board.
Dr. Grant.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Jessica Grant. I am a principal of a K-5 program in Prince George's County Public Schools. And I can toss it to Ellie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ellie Mitchell. I'm the director of the Maryland Out of School Time Network. We're also the backbone for the Maryland Coalition for Community Schools. And I popped on late, so I'm not sure who else has already gone. Sorry.
No problem. And then Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Dr. Mitchell. I am with Goucher College as an adjunct faculty, former teacher and principal, and also served at the Maryland State Department of Education and School Improvement Leadership Development. Nice to see everyone this afternoon.
Thank you. At this time, we will get any AIB updates that we have.
Thank you, Chair Hope. AIB updates. We are in the beginning, coming into the middle part of legislative session. We are keeping our eye on over 75 bills among the staff, and around 20 of those have a direct impact to the blueprint. Also, one bill that we are particularly interested in for Pillar 4 is House Bill 352. And we are in support of that bill as it updates eligible uses for the personnel and per pupil grants. Also, this legislative session, we are asking for the reappointment of our own board liaison member Manko, for this session. And tomorrow we have our AIB board meeting. So please come back to our YouTube channel to watch our meeting live. I'm sorry, because I'm getting my days mixed up. It's Thursday is our AIB board meeting. Thursday. Okay. And then finally, March 2nd is Blueprint Day, and there will be a small reception on Lawyers Mall on March 2nd at 6 p.m. with some AIB staff. So if people are available to come out, that would be wonderful. And those are the AIB updates.
Thank you. So today we were going to focus in on multilingual learners and emerging multilingual learner feedback and best practices. At this time, none of our speakers were able to make it today, but are there any questions around this that we can, as a committee, that we would want to send to them when we reschedule?
I'm not sure if these would go to the guests or this would go to the AIB or it would go to DLS or to MSDE or whom it would go to. But one of the things that we've been working on with the Blueprint Coalition and the Maryland Education Coalition is understanding the drivers of loss of enrollment. And there has been supposition, and there is at least some data to support that some of the loss of enrollment was multi-language learners. We also saw a drop in enrollment of students eligible for compensatory education dollars, and that those two can often go together. And so just understanding who we lost in enrollment and why I think is a very, very important conversation, as it has both fiscal impacts and policy impacts around how we support multi-language learners. So that's my question.
Thank you. Did anybody else have any other questions? That was mine too, Ellie.
I mean, I would just be interested in getting a better understanding on the when the multilingual learners work group came up with their recommendations, what the status of the implementation of the recommendations has been, and what has been implemented, what is still in motion, what has been challenging to implement, and why. So just getting an update on that set of recommendations and what the status of that is.
That is. Dr. Grant or Dr. Metzel, anything else around that topic?
I would only add just what are some turnkey initiatives that can take place to support that demographic. As a school principal, of course, I have families in my community that I serve and support. And so I'm constantly looking at data and disaggregating data to see how all student groups and populations are being met. And so my first thought process was what I know we're Pillar 4, but what information will they provide to us? Are we looking at just complete wraparound services, whole child from needs, supports, academics? Are we talking about training, developmental processes that need to be in place for those who are supporting those learners? And then are we looking at the support that's being provided to families who are having concerns and don't know where to go? And so there are a number of things where my processing went to, but just wondering what are some direct initiatives that can take place that can be provided down to schoolhouse, so those initiatives and supports can be in place to help families and students.
Perfect. So like the best practices that have yielded results to support.
And something that can immediately take place, that research or when we look at the academics, so there are a number of things that we do to support them. You look at the KLD strategies, you're looking at providing supports through funding and making sure families have resources. But yes, initially, just what are some key takeaways from the work group, and what data points do they have, and what are some initial things that can take place immediately to support those based on results?
I think I will just be additive that kind of going back to what Ellie said about enrollment. I almost would love to know if the enrollment decline is consistent across all LEAs or is it in particular areas of the state? And then how is that aligned to what we might be seeing that is happening in our state, that is bringing upon that fear or adjustment in students coming to school and being supported or their families being supported. So we'll make sure to take these questions and type these up. And then we do not have a meeting in March. Our next meeting is April 28th, which is after the legislative session. So we can actually do a split meeting of legislative updates and then going back to the multilingual work group and best practices in supporting emerging multilingual learners at that meeting. And then that will be our revised agenda. Is there anything else?
I hope I just wanted to flag one
Oh.
other thing about in the legislative session that is being discussed that's community schools related, which is the community schools rental assistance program. That program is in the housing budget, and it is still in the budget. It's at $5 million, but last year they combined the FY 25 and 26 allocations to make it closer to $10 million given out. And within 3 weeks of opening in just 8 counties, they received over $30 million worth of requests for those funds. There's a group of folks, housing advocates, the Renters United, being led by the Public Justice Center, and the Maryland Coalition for Community Schools is participating and trying to advocate for some increased funding for that pot of money. Of course, the problem is always the pay for, where will the money come from in a tight budget year? But just given the fact that it's the only rental assistance program available at the state level, and what we heard as we were learning more about the program in terms of the major impact on families that this program has had in terms of housing stability, keeping kids in their schools, so lessening student mobility, lessening chronic absenteeism because students have steady living situations. It's such an impactful program, and so just wanted to raise it. If folks want to learn more, we're going to do an action alert with the Maryland Coalition for Community Schools, so folks can find me, emitchell@mostnetwork.org, and I'll make sure that people get that information. But that is something we've been tracking very closely, and we're glad that there's still $5 million in the pot, but it is such a consequential impact on families and driving specifically through the community school strategy because it is for families who are in community schools.
And just as a supervisor of community schools, I can say I think we were under 30 days and the 1.1 million that was earmarked for Montgomery County Public Schools was already encumbered in less than that. And that was before the state press release. We had meetings with our partner, which is the Housing Initiative Partnership, and literally had a massive team to help in all the schools that we have. And so it has made a great difference for families. I know some personal stories of some people who literally it allowed them to be able to secure a job because they weren't having to look and try to find something because of the funding that was afforded to them. So that has made a difference in a couple of families' lives, well, all families' lives, but definitely some I know about not having to worry about their housing and then being able to focus on securing not one, but 2 jobs to maintain what they were just provided through that program. So we can definitely bring that up during our April meeting. And then if people want to look further, they can actually go online because all of those providers still have information on their websites.
Yeah, the
That's
housing
great.
department did a great report on the whole program.
I just wanted to jump in and say that's great to hear. First, I love the point you made, Ellie, about the attendance, right? Because the one thing I know for a fact, a school that had 43% of the students chronically absent, and right now we're sitting at 17.37%, so round up. 18%, we've done the work to create a culture. And that's where it really starts, is creating a culture where families feel safe. So I know the things that I've done in my schoolhouse that have reaped benefits for all of my student demographics, especially for my ML population. They feel secure. I have a family, one of my Hispanic families, she's the parent lead of my parent group, right? And so now her leading that parent group, it now opens the door for my other families to feel safe and secure to come to monthly parent meetings and after school events. So we've done some great things at my school, but in my numbers have not gone down. They actually are increasing, but I don't know what that looks like from other schools and within an LEA. And I'm happy to say that my school was asked to pilot. I had to look it up. the ML Family Engagement Academy, where I'm able to select members of the team. So I'll have my community school coordinator and some other members be a part of that. So I am proud to say of the work, but I wonder what it looks like on a holistic level and how can those best practices be imitated in all schools so we can have some consistent variables from one place to the other to support our family group. So yeah, some very good points brought up that I wanted to just kind of add my little 2 cents to.
I love that because the family engagement piece is and the security is there. I wonder with the societal environment that we are in, some people, certain LEAs are dealing with more of the things that are hindering our families with feeling safe. Not when they get to our buildings, because once they're in the building, they find it to be amazing. I know, as you said, you got, that chronic absenteeism declining. And so we have seen a lot of families still show up to Cafecitos and being a part of all of the volunteer opportunities. But to make sure that we can continue that path, there's some other things that as a state we'll just continue to work on. So, are there any other questions that we might want for the multilingual learner work group? Any questions that we might want to make sure that are addressed that are part of the legislative updates? I think the legislative session, if I'm correct, closes around April 13th.
13th is Sonia Dye.
And so then our next meeting is on April 28th, which will give us plenty of time to get anything else, but just making sure we can get all of our questions in one document so those that are coming will know exactly what we need an update on. Anything else? If not, we will not belabor and hold this meeting longer. Just remember April 28th, 4 o'clock, we're doing legislative updates and those speakers that we're seeking, we will try to reschedule them on April 28th for our 4 to 5:30 meeting. At this time, we can adjourn.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a great evening. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you, Hope.
You too.
Thank you.
Are we clear? Are we still on?
Turn everything off. Oh,
I-
no.